And welcome back to Coworker Radio. I'm Catherine Raymock.
And I'm Jane Walker-Wood.
And we are so happy to be here with Dick Lamb. He co-founded the famous Balance Bar and took that company public in 1998. Also a windsurfing champion and a former Olympic judge. Also co-founder of something called NutriSoda brand as well. And a longtime community member here in Santa Barbara, involved in a lot of nonprofit and great work. So first of all, welcome to the show. How are you, Dick?
Thanks very much, Catherine and Jane.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Where do we start? I really am interested in how athletics then led you to the Balance Bar, because at the time, was it a 30-30-40? There was a combination of something that was very new. So you're involved in windsurfing, but that's very different than being an entrepreneur. So what was that? How did that happen?
Well, it was basically out of necessity. Windsurfing was going the way of the hula hoop, frankly. And a friend of mine, neighbor, had discovered Dr. Barry Sears and his Biosyn bar. It was a very poor bar at the time, not very tasty, very dense. But we saw an opportunity there. We tried it, experienced weight loss and renewed vigor, honestly. And so we decided to approach Dr. Sears and see if we could make a deal with him to market his bars.
So were you actually in the process of designing and tasting, and how does one do that? Or are you hiring people to do that for you and coming in every once in a while and saying, I'm not sure this is good enough?
Well, to be honest, we were a sales and marketing team. Okay. We left that to the experts. We were very fortunate to get involved with a Canadian company called Reactor. And they had marvelous food scientists, people who could really create a bar that tasted good. It met all the nutritional requirements that we had, and we just changed the name from Biosyn to Balance, which is probably the smartest thing we ever did, and took it from there. And we emphasized, there's a lot to starting a company because we have a brand new product that's kind of unique and was going against the nutritional philosophy of the time, which was high carb, low fat. We had higher fat, more protein. It actually worked a lot better, but there are a lot of products that work a lot better, but people never hear about them because they're going against the common thought of the time.
Yeah, that is an interesting concept.
Now, I've read a lot of nutritionists don't believe that with modern food you can get a balanced diet because of all the GMOs and fast food. Do you think you can get a balanced diet without supplementing?
I think so if you choose the food very carefully. And in fact, I'm a big proponent of eating food as close to nature as possible. The least refinement, the better off you are. And you can get, if you choose food carefully, I am concerned about modern farming techniques in that I don't think the food has the flavonoid content. Vegetables and fruits are, with mass farming and artificial fertilizers, perhaps aren't as nutritious as they used to be. But, I think that's the best way to eat, eating natural food as close to nature as possible.
Now, what about all the people who are moving towards vegan or vegetarianism? I actually don't eat meat. I only eat fish. So I always have a protein bar a day because I think otherwise I'm not getting enough. Is that an accurate thought?
Yes, I think it's pretty well established that as you age, you need more protein.
Are you saying I'm aging? No.
Let's hope so.
That's true.
I'm interested in the concept of timing and entrepreneurship because I think back to, so you took the company public in 98 and you started well before that. And we're talking at a time where nutrition bars were not everywhere you looked and there was 100 different choices. So it really was a timing thing. Do you look back and think about how amazing your timing was in the industry? Or?
Yeah, turned out to be very good timing.
Yeah.
But we had two obstacles. One is our nutritional content was a little against the grain. Two, the nutrition bar concept hadn't really been established yet. So we had two jobs to do to make it okay to have a Balance bar instead of, let's say, a bag of chips and a Coke for lunch, and actually encourage people to do that. So it's part of positioning a product.
How do you do
what
that?
What are we? Well, you analyze a target market and say, who is this product going to appeal to? And so what messages do they listen to? And so do we position our product? It has to be honest, because you can't fake positioning.
Now, that hasn't changed. It's just now people are going towards social media to do that.
Right. The way the marketing is still marketing, but the way you do it has changed dramatically in the last 10 years.
And what about distribution? Now anybody can sell anything on Amazon.
Right. That's, there's still brute force marketing where you go through distributors and brokers and direct to retail stores or major chains. That's changing, though. They're not doing so well. There are certain things that lend themselves to distribution through stores, and of course food is one of them because they're highly perishable. It's hard to imagine shipping lettuce from Amazon. It'd probably be done someday. In fact, it's being done today.
Yeah, probably drone dropping it in your front yard.
Right. So, the landscape's going to change dramatically. It has, and it's going to continue, as we can all see from the perilous condition of the financial
now
statements.
You're a business consulting other new startups. Do you have one particular bit of advice that you give everyone from all that you've learned?
Yes. I'm actually not a consultant. I'm a mentor for SCORE. And so it's all volunteer. So I hope I'm worth more than they pay me. I would say concentrate on the product. Get your product right before you go out, because there's a lot of competition there. And even great products, of course, you have other things to do too. You have to position the product, package the product, market the product, appeal to an audience, do your homework on your target market. But really getting the product right gives you a lot of claims that you can make. If it's taste, if it's nutritional value, or it could be a widget too. Whatever you make, try to make it as well as you can, package it properly, and come up, with a catchy name and.
And you're off and running.
You
certainly did that. We're talking with the co-founder of Balance Bar, Dick Lamb. And so you were approached by Kraft, and who wanted to buy your company. What was that like for you? I mean, was it something that you were, yes, let's do this, or was it sort of like letting go of a child?
Well, yeah, the process was that we want to distribute to Europe. So I went to Europe and I visited Kraft and Nestle and a few others.
Thinking you could get in under their brand?
Unilever, and wanted to partner with them to distribute in Europe. We thought it was a big market. Every single one of them that I talked to 4, said, we don't want to partner with you, we want to buy you. So I flew back to Santa Barbara and talked it over with the board and said, hey, we've got something here. And it turned out it was serendipitous timing. We started a process with Goldman Sachs. I know that's a dirty word now, but they ended up putting us out to bid, and I think 21 companies expressed interest, and Kraft was one of the finalists, and they made an offer. So I think we were ready to sell. We saw bar wars coming up.
Bar wars.
I was going to ask about that because it seems to me there's now probably 1,000 or more bars out there, but every so often somebody creates something and they stand out, like Oat Mega. They just sold to a larger company. I don't remember the name. So how do you stand out in an overcrowded field?
Well, first of all, you can't do it on a slim budget. If you have a really superb product, that helps. And if you establish a niche, who is your customer and what message will reach them, then you have a chance. But it's tough. It's like your dad wanting you to be a pro football quarterback. I mean, it's very unlikely. It's not quite that bad odds for a bar or some other product. A lot of people make it. A lot of people don't, too. So I would advise people to really do their homework, do a competitive analysis of the market so you know exactly what you're getting into. Look at how successful products market themselves? How do they do it? How much do they have to spend? Is it realistic for me to go into this business? Will I be able to get resources, either investment capital or friends and family, however you start out? The more realistic you are when you go out, the better off you'll be.
Well, you were also a world champion windsurfer, an
That's
Olympic
an
judge. I would think that kind of would help a lot with the credentials.
Well, it certainly helps you with your discipline. I was not a world champion. I won the North Americans one year, but I did okay. But I think sport. I played a sport in college too, and that really gives you a lot of discipline. Study engineering and also play a sport, and I think that helps. It also helps your confidence, your ability to get up when you get knocked down, and whether it be creative dance or going out paddling or surfing, anything you do to add to your life and competitive drive will certainly help.
And I have to ask, and Catherine's probably going to think this is controversial, but our president doesn't believe people should exercise because our bodies have a finite amount of energy, like a battery. You've dedicated your life to nutrition and exercise. How do you respond to that?
Well, that's another thing I disagree with.
Just add it to the list. Did you see the last tweet? We're talking with Dick Lamb, and as I was listening to you talk, and you told me you didn't mind me bringing this up, but it's just one further thing that humanizes you. And you're an optimist. I mean, I think about the way you talked about building your company, and you are the only person I know that has had a heart transplant that I've talked to on a regular basis. And I just asked you, but I'd never asked you this question. Did you think when you were going into surgery that was it? And you said, absolutely not, right? You just knew it was going to be successful.
Well, I was at Cedars-Sinai, and they have a remarkable record. They do more heart transplants than anyone. We're very fortunate to have them less than 2 hours away. I just caught a virus, attacked my heart, and so it led to the need for a heart transplant. So I'm very fortunate that technology is available, that there are people and organizations at Cedars are so excellent at what they do. And
it hasn't slowed you down a bit, has it?
Well, I'm doing way more than as I was getting sick.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I love
you got a
paddling
20-year-old heart, too.
Yeah. Well, it's 22 now.
22. It's 22, okay.
So what's next for you? What are you up to these days?
Well, I have a great wife, Peggy, and we love to ski, so we have a little condo up in Mammoth that we go to as often as we can. And, I enjoy mentoring for SCORE, and it's a great organization, and I would recommend to anyone who's starting a business that you might consider enlisting their services. It's all free. It's sponsored by the U.S. government, Small Business Administration. It's been around for years. And there are a lot of old guys with arrows in their back and lots of experience in business, so they might be able to help you avoid the mistakes they made.
Ready to mentor you. Do you ever buy balance bars anymore? Eat balance bars?
I do.
Hey, Dick, thank you so much for joining us, Dick Lamb.
My pleasure.
It was really nice to have you in studio. You are listening to Co-Work Radio here on KZSB, and we'll be right back after this break.